these tanks will come out of the ground in certain times of the year if they're empty, because there's so much water pressure underneath it, it will pop them out of the ground. Even when using a concrete tank, under certain conditions, you need to make sure it's not going to float out of the ground. Here's the final layout of the tanks. This is that media being put in. That's a surface area for the bacteria to grow on. This is the pump for this system. This was a seasonal property, and the perk-right system has a hydraulic unit in here that keeps track of how much water is being used right here, filters on it, and it all back flushes. It's a pretty self-contained system. You got a feed line going up and a return line coming down, and this valving right in here, the two red valves. The owner of this piece of property, it's a seasonal property, he wanted to be able to go out in the fall, turn two valves, and drain this entire system without doing any work other than opening two valves. So it was set up for them to do it that way. Here's where that leach field was going to go. That's the sand bed that was brought in. Here's the tubing going down. It's 1 foot on center, held down with clips. This is the return line. Each tubing has a return to it. And when they're put in at an angle up off the ground so that they drain out. And there's little emitters that we'll see a little later on that drain these tubes. So here's finished grade right there in each of these systems. This type of system, think of it as an irrigation system for your lawn that has an air release valve on the inlet and on the outlet. So when the pump comes on, any air in the system gets pushed out through these valves. Once they're pressurized, they close, and then it forces the effluent. So here's the leach field. That's what it looks like when it's done. Small control panel, small air compressor to run the system. They're putting it back together. This is the access to those two valves that you saw, so they could drain it during the fall months. Backfill. The contractor did a really nice job on this project. Mulching because it was late in the season. So this is what it started with. This is what it looked like this spring. So this was a job where they used two different technologies, put them together, and made it so that if you go out there right now, you have no idea that you're standing on a leach field. No one knows where it is. On another project.
And the cost?
Pardon me?
The cost of that?
That was about $35,000. Now, keep in mind on that project, at $35,000, everything was done with a skid steer, a small excavator, and at the end, all the loom and everything that you saw in there was brought in with wheelbarrows and all hand labor spread because you couldn't have access to it. You typically wouldn't spend that kind of money on waterfront. Here's one, kind of a little bit bigger, different issue. It was extremely flat lot that the owners wanted to, same issues as far as setbacks go, access. We'll get right through these. Lot challenges. The owners didn't want to have it block the view of the lake. They didn't want to have a mound. Take this flat room and build it up 2 feet, 3 feet, and have a mound in the middle of it. They wanted usable area in the yard. No, I don't know why people don't like fence. Again, there's your time frame. They want it, waterfront people, I don't know what it is about waterfront people, but you want it done when you're not there. I don't understand. So here's the yard. Really flat, test pit over in here. If they went with a standard large diameter gravelless pipe system, tube system, for this size home in the soil and the perk rate, that was going to be the size of it. So the designer looked at this and showed the owner, this is what it was going to look like when it was done. It's going to be slightly higher than his deck. You could feather these slopes out, make it more gradual, but it was going to be a mound in the yard, and it wasn't going to be a usable area for him. So then looked at what happens if you go with the perk right system, and putting two technologies together. This was the view from the lake, from their deck or their dock. Common theme, mini excavator, do a lot of the work here. This is the sand being brought in for that bed. This is the property line right here. Existing septic tank is up in here that was replaced. And then the gravity line down into a 3-chamber tank. that does the treatment, and then this end pumps to the leach field. That's just a diffuser in the bottom. It looks like an aquarium diffuser. This is a year-round use, so this one wasn't going to drain. So this is insulated cabinet, insulated pipes going down, and inside that little red strip right there, that's the heating unit. So if it gets below 37 degrees inside this structure, that heating unit comes on and keeps it from freezing. So you can see here going with this, here's the steps. So you're right about at the same elevation as the first step. Tube going in. And here's a testing of the tube to make sure that everything is going to work. Those are the emitters that are on. And there's that small emitter. So when it's under pressure, it lets the same amount of water out of every little emitter, every little hole in that pipe. And then when the pressure shuts off, these emitters completely open up and drain the tubes completely out. So there's never any effluent sitting in this tube. If there is in the wintertime, it's going to be a very small little skim of ice on the bottom of it, and then with the force of the water and the temperature of the water, it's going to thaw anything that's in there for a skim. Backfilling. So that's what it looked like when it was done. Controls over in here, tanks over in here. The deck was in place, the steps. But they ended up moving the deck over to the side, the stairs over to the side of the deck over here, and they put a landscape area around the tanks. And what they did, landscaping around the control panel. But right underneath here, even though they're not fully exposed, 6 inches below the mulch, easy to get to, are the covers right in between on this side of the plantings and the perennials over in here. So right in that row is access to the system for maintenance. So that's what it looked like. That was option A, they didn't like. That's what it looked like when it was done. So there's a lot of things you can do for you with people with waterfront property who are worried about small, big impact to the properties, visually impacting it. There's things you can do to mitigate that.
And again, the cost of that one.
This one here was right around just under $25,000 for this entire job. And that's what
Would it have been less had you used the other option where you raised it?
Actually, going with the other option would have been less money. The homeowners decided to spend the extra money so they would have a usable yard. They could have gone with the other option, and it would have been probably a little bit less.
How much less?
I don't know. So Grant Street Designers and Installers, we've got a few minutes. We wanted to just show you our website. Debbie, you want to
We talked about plans and where to get plans of septic systems. If you don't have a copy of your plan, you really should have one of those. And a lot of the towns have them. If they're really old, you probably won't. But this is our website for Granite State Designers and Installers Association. And right on this side is a quick link to subsurface. Subsurface is what the division that approves the septic systems. So you can click on that. And then you come down here, that thing right in the middle of it, but it says one-stop application and approvals. You're going to click on this. You're going to come back up here for the application, the approval status. It will pop up. The first category is the town that you live in. There's a whole list of things. And like anything, the more information that you put in it, seems like it would work better. On this one, it works backwards. So you really want to put your town, maybe your street address. You also have to put, if you're looking for the approval of your septic, it's construction approval number, and the county. I don't know if it's going to come up. And then it will pop up. It will give you an approval number, and then you can call the state and actually order a copy of your plan. Great thing to have, whether you're selling your house, just maintenance or anything, to have a copy of that plan. Now the other thing too that we talked about is getting back to the grandfathering clause of your lots. And I think I touched on it a little bit before, is when they do the reevaluations, you always want to go in and check your status and the notation on the number of bedrooms, because they tend to change. And if you were to call me to do a design on your system, and say for instance in 67 it was a 3-bedroom year-round, but one of the bedrooms didn't have a closet, they could have changed it on you to be 2 bedrooms, even though prior to that in 67 it was a 3-bedroom. So you just want to kind of monitor that when they go around and do the reevaluations. You know, in the next few months, go in and just check your assessment card and make sure that the number of bedrooms is still what it was prior to them coming out. Once you lose that or that paper trail, it's hard to get it back. Didn't get it back, huh?
No.
But anyway, through our website, there's a quick link to the state. Instead of giving you the big state website to go through that, gives you a quick link right in. Also, if you're getting a septic design done and you're waiting for the approval, you'll also see it pop up on here before you actually get the paperwork in the mail. So if you've got a failed system and you've got your contractor and he's ready to go, you'll see the approval pop up before you actually get the 8.5 by 11 sheet back from the state.
And our website is gsdia for association.org. If you don't put the A on, you'll go to something entirely different.
This has been a production of Wolfboro Community TV, bringing your community to view.